Wait, you mean that British imperialism was a bad thing? Oh. Tadar Uhan, released in 2021 and is directed by Shuit Sekar, who has also directed such films like Yahan, Vicky Donner, Madras Cafe, Piku, and October. And this film is starring Vicky Kaushal, Sean Scott, and Stephen Hogan. The film is based on the life of Udham Singh, who was a freedom fighter from Punjab who successfully assassinated Michael O'Dwyer in revenge for the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in Amritsar. So the film tells the story about his life and his decision in carrying out the assassination, while detectives try to uncover any hidden meanings behind the assassination. This is one of the most requested films that I have received when it comes to Indian cinema that I have just dove into in the last, I want to say, couple of months. It hasn't even been a full year since I started watching Indian cinema with my viewing of RRR, which is still one of the best movies I have seen in the last couple of years. And I was curious to see what this movie was about, and just diving further into Indian cinema, not constantly doing a whole bunch of sword and sandal films like what I've been doing, but something more contemporary, a story that takes place in the last 100 years. Now, I always knew that British imperialism sucks shit, and after watching this movie, the biggest revelation, or at least I feel like I've already known this, but the biggest thing that came out of watching this movie for me was the realization that history and what I'm taught in history definitely depends on whose side and what country you live in. Taking like a world history course in high school, I vaguely remember something about this massacre, and they call it out in the movie. It's a beautifully written line, and it's a horrifically written line as well, where he talked about this entire massacre that takes up like the last third of this movie. It's an extended sequence. It is horrific. It is just, you can't talk, you can't make a sound, you can't move when you watch that sequence. It's just haunting. But I vaguely remember learning about that massacre, and how they say it in the movie is that this whole event is just a blurb in your textbooks. It's just a paragraph in your textbook. And that is so goddamn true. Not just with this event, but with so many other events, especially for me being in the Western side of the world, how they want to frame history and how history is taught to kids in middle school and in high school. Frames like British imperialism and Europe being just a great country and a great place. But then if you're from a country who lived through just a horrific event like something like this, where someone from my side of the world committed, of course your viewpoint and your history should be something completely different than from what I'm getting over here. It just proves how much history that we are taught and how stories are passed down from generation to generation, how those things are just warped depending on who's telling them and what their agenda is, what their framework is. Because in my textbook, I could read this event and it's a little blurb and then I move on with the rest of my life. Over here, where this massacre happened, that's going to be their everyday life, and that's going to be affecting them for hundreds, if not thousands of years, because that event was just so freaking horrific. The British soldiers come in, they don't even give a warning, and they just kill everyone at this little rally, this peaceful rally. They weren't antagonizing anyone. They just committed genocide, basically, right here in this little square, and they really had no way of escaping because they blocked off the only entry. That sequence, holy shit. What God, what can I say? I giggle, I laugh, because that's my defense mechanism when I'm confronted with such a horrific happening and such a hard subject. It's just something that I go to. As it kept going on and on, I'm just wondering, when is this going to end? Because it's just the story of this guy who was supposed to be at this protest. He slept in, and then he showed up, and he's just wheeling all of the people who are still alive, maybe dying, maybe they're okay, wheeling all of them to a local hospital where it looked like there was only just one doctor there helping and stitching and doing surgeries and trying to save all these people. And he just keeps doing it. He keeps doing it for what seems to be like an entire day. And you see his body just crumble to the ground, and he can't push the wheelbarrow anymore. Then he gets a little like second wind and a third wind and a fourth wind. And the entire time I'm just thinking, when is this going to end? This has to end. When is it going to end? And that's the whole point of that sequence being so extended, right? It's because those events, the horrific nature and how those events were carried out, it's not something that you just stop and you move on from. That's going to linger with you for an entire generation, for hundreds of years. It's a beautiful sequence. The music is beautiful. The lack of sound and lack of music is beautiful in some parts. Heartbreaking. It's heroic in some ways. It's encouraging, but that's what this film is basically known for, is that long extended sequence. And I would definitely recommend you checking it out. Just know what you're getting yourself in for. It's hard. And it takes a while getting to that sequence. This is a 2-hour and 45-minute film, and it's told in a non-linear structure, so it begins really with the assassination, and then we have little glimpses of Udham when he was a younger kid, and his decision in trying to create a revolution, him getting out of prison, and then escaping, and going into Russia, and trying to make his way to the States, or make his way to the UK. And I think it also shows the duality of, you know, a global power that, depending on, again, what hemisphere or what country you're from, could be seen as a great power and a great entity, and then on the other side, it's, you know, complete dog shit. At the start of World War II, whenever I've been taught about World War II, you know, Europe and Britain and the UK, they're great, and they're constantly fighting back against the evil Adolf Hitler, and they do nothing wrong. They're constantly fighting for right, truth, and justice. But that's only one side of what they were doing. At the same time, they were over in India, occupying everything and trying to change them because they thought the people there were savages, and they were trying to instill British imperialism. So on one hand, yeah, you're fighting this evil person over in Germany, but you're also being complete dicks to another country on the other side of the world. Just goes to show you that not everyone and everything is perfect in this world. Everything that you put on a pedestal, I would encourage you not to do so, because especially if it's a person, or if it's a government, or if it's a country, because they could have great people, and the people in them could be fantastic, but they're also people. Humans are flawed. Every single one of us are flawed. All of us have a darkness and probably a dark past, and have made some not so favorable decisions throughout our lives. Sardar Udham, who I'm sure I'm pronouncing just completely incorrectly, just know I'm trying to say it out of respect for the film, because I think this film is excellent. It's a very hard watch. I don't see myself going back and watching this again and again and again, because I just don't want to see that, personally. You know, I'm a person, leave me alone. But it is an exceptional film. It's on Amazon Prime, so if you have that subscription, it's free to watch. Definitely check it out. The cinematography is beautiful, the color coordination, the lighting choices, the sound design, everything just clicks on all cylinders here. And this is one of the best Indian films that I have seen in my viewing of Indian cinema, and it's an exceptional piece of art. I'm gonna give Sardar Udham 4.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
So guys, if you've seen Sardar Udham, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you all the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.